So hi, good evening. All good? It's second class. पहली क्या थी? ओहो, तो ऐसे वैसे पढ़ के आ रहे हो? लिख के आ रहे हो? फिर इस क्लास के बाद पार्टी कर लो. Now listen. So last class we started with the Gupta period, and we have mentioned Ajanta cave. So in Ajanta cave, what discussion we had? It was related to fresco mural painting. So now we'll start with the Ellora cave and the rest of the caves which were there in this period, and then after we'll move to the temple architecture. So second, just you write as a title Ellora caves. Ellora caves. So now listen. When it comes to Ellora caves, it is also related, situated in the same province, same district, sorry, and that is Sambhajinagar. Earlier it was known as the Aurangabad. Now, this Ellora caves, it has total 34 caves, and 34 cave, their development, though it started in Gupta period, but it reached its climax later on in 8th century AD at the time of the Rashtrakutas. So major development has happened in the Rashtrakutas, some development in the Gupta age. Then, moreover, when it comes to Ellora caves, so 34 caves and all the three religions can be found over here. So 17 caves belong to Hinduism, 12 caves belong to Buddhism, and 5 caves belonging to Jainism. Then, moreover, as you can see that Hinduism is a dominating religion in this particular cave, and 17 caves since dedicated to it. So we need to talk a little bit more about the Hinduism, particularly in this particular cave. So in Ellora premise, cave number 16 or cave premise number 16 is known as Kailasnath temple. So Kailasnath temple is a monolith. You understand what is monolith? Single stone. So temple which is created from a single stone. Then moreover, this Kailasnath temple is also considered as one of the architectural wonder of India. The reason being that there are many documentaries of it if you get time, so you can see over there in the YouTube. So there is one documentary of the BBC also, and there is one documentary of the National Geographic also. So if you look at those documentaries, so what has been mentioned about this particular temple, that not only that its approach which was followed was very unique, top to down approach, meaning the top part of the temple was created first and then slowly they are getting down. Apart from it, the time period which was taken for completion of this architecture, they maintained that these documentaries, they say that if we create the same temple with the modern technology, it will take more than 2 times. Then, so it was created in a very fast pace. And moreover, the area where it is created, it is one of the hardest rocks of India. It is difficult to chisel those rocks. So how come it was created in such a short span of time? So that is itself is a wonder then, and that's why it is also regarded as one of the mysterious temples of India. Then apart from it, 12 caves, as we mentioned, is related to Buddhism. So in Buddhist cave, what you find, you basically find the sculptures related to Buddha, but paintings are not surviving related to Buddhism. Similarly, the Jain caves, there are sculptures related to Tirthankars, then so related to Tirthankars, but here also images are not, that paintings are not surviving. Only in Hindu caves, some paintings are surviving, fresco mural paintings, and there is a one popular image which is surviving in the Hindu caves, that is the Lord Vishnu's image on his vehicle Garuda. Garuda, you know, na, that the bird on which Lord Vishnu rides. So that is there. Then, so mention in this, ek aur cheez hai, bas ruk jao, just 2 minutes. That one more part, that in Ajanta, what we mentioned, Ajanta caves were created on the steep side of the hill. Then, meaning this side. Ellora was created on the sloping side of the hill. So now there is a benefit of creating on the sloping side. Suppose if you are cutting the rock from the sloping side over here, so suppose that if you have created some sort of, that's for example this Kailasnath temple itself, so there is an open ground, it seems like a courtyard. So courtyards were created in the Ellora because it was created on the sloping side, and courtyards were not possible in Ajanta because it was created on the steep side. So mention, you write that located in Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, and mention total 34 caves. Total 34 caves were created at this place. Whose development started in Gupta age. Whose development started in Gupta age. But it reached its climax. During Rashtrakoot period. I'm writing this word over here. So during Rashtrakoot period. That mention. So now you can create the division of it. So mention 34 caves. So 17 caves belong to Hinduism. 17 caves belong to Hinduism. 12 to Buddhism. And 5 to Jainism. 5 to Jainism. So 17 caves from Hinduism, 12 from Buddhism, and 5 from Jainism. Then mention. पहले Buddhist और Jain लिख लो, then we'll come to Hindus. So mention inside the Buddhist cave. Specimen inside the Buddhist cave. Specimen related to Buddhism were created. For example, just 1 minute. Specimen related to Buddhism were created. For example, sculptures of Buddha. Similarly, in Jain caves also, sculptures of Tirthankars. Were created. Then mention after it. Hinduism was the dominating religion in Ellora. Full stop. Cave premise number 16. Is known as Kailas Nath Temple. Full stop. It is a monolith. Created by Rashtrakoot King Krishna I. Mention further. It is regarded as one of the architectural wonder. Of India. Done? So this is what is about that Ellora that we needed to have a discussion. Ek last about the painting you write. So inside the Hindu caves, some fresco mural paintings. Inside the Hindu caves, some fresco mural paintings paintings were also created. Some fresco mural painting were also created. Full stop. The best surviving example is image of Lord Vishnu riding on Garud. Done. So this is what is about the Ellora caves. Let's move to the next cave. We have 4 or 5 more. So the next one you write you write Elephanta cave. Elephanta caves. Many of you must have visited also Elephanta caves. Where it is? Bombay. Okay. So when you take ferry either from any coastal part of the Bombay, so generally people take ferry from the gateway of India. Okay. So it is located off coast Mumbai on an island then, and moreover Elephanta cave. So generally if you go in a rainy season you will not feel good about it because it is almost filled with so much of water. But then in dry season, if you go over there, so you will be able to see or note down few things in this particular cave. So Elephanta caves, that it is known for the Hinduism. Okay? That specimen related to Hinduism are there. In fact, you can find the image of Lord Vishnu also and Lord Shiva Sivling also. But the most important specimen inside this particular cave is the image which is known as Trimurti, a sculpture which is known as Trimurti. So what is there in the Trimurti? Any idea? Who all would be there in Trimurti? So that's what you said, that Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But then I didn't ask you the Tridev, I asked you Trimurti. So be careful. Whenever it is asked that Trimurti, so Trimurti could be Tridev also, but it could be something other also. Whenever it is said Tridev, so then the Tridev would be there, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So here Trimurti has image of the Mahesh in the middle, done, and then Uma on one side and on the other side Bhairav. So Trimurti is these 3 form. Mention. It is located off coast Mumbai. It is located off coast Mumbai on an island. On an island. Full stop. Then mention. At this place, specimen related to, at this place, specimen related to Hinduism can be seen. Specimen related to Hinduism can be seen. Full stop. It has images based on Saivism and Vaishnavism. Saivism and Vaishnavism, but more of a Saivism. Okay? Then you write after it, one of the most famous sculpture from this place is Trimurti. Trimurti, which includes image of Uma, Mahesh and Bhairav. Which includes image of Uma, Mahesh and Bhairav. Uma, Mahesh and Bhairav. Done? Got it? So now, after this one, this particular Elephanta caves, let's move to the next one, which is Nasik cave. Nasik cave. So listen, that as far as the Nasik caves are concerned, the development of this cave started in the post-Maurya age. Okay? development started in post Maurya, but then completion was in Gupta age. ठीक है? Total 23 caves were there at this particular place, and they are made from the sandstone. Moreover, these caves, they were associated with the Heenan branch of Buddhism. So later on, when we are going to talk about the Buddhism, there we differentiate between the Heenan and Mahayana. So generally in Heenan, they don't create any image of the Buddha. So you will not find any image of the Buddha in these caves. Other designs and things would be there, but not Buddha. Okay? So that is one part. Now, the other thing associated with this place, though we are talking about the Nasik cave in relation to the Buddhism, but Nasik otherwise is famous for Hinduism. Okay? And in what way? It is one of the place where Kumbh Mela happens. Okay? So 4 Kumbh hote hain, and 4 Kumbh they are. So Haridwar, Prayag, Ujjain and Nasik. Okay? So Ujjain and Nasik. But then there is one more thing over here. Nasik, I hope that you are already done with the geography. So one of the river emerges from this place, from this Godavari, okay? From the Trambak Kund. Okay? So Trambak Kund, it emerges. Moreover, this is also the place of one of the Shiva Jyotirling. Then, so Shiva Jyotirling, Trambakeshwar. Then, so that's what goes into the Mahamrityunjay mantra. You remember? I hope I'm not reciting it, but then there is a word. So that word is indicating to the Trambakeshwar. Then, so basically, when we look at the UPSC paper, particularly prelims examination, we often get a question on the Shiva Jyotirling. And how many Shiva Jyotirlings are there in India? 12. Okay? So 12 Shiva Jyotirlings are there. And what is Shiva Jyotirling? Do you have any idea? What is the story behind the Shiva Jyotirling? What is this? No, it is not. How come Sati is associated with the Shiva? Yes. It's not tear also. Yeah, I get you, that what you're trying to say, what he's trying to say, that when the origin of the things were taken into the consideration, this was the first form which was present from the time immemorial. Then, so present from the time immemorial, it is a column, okay, which represents the end and the endless. Okay? So which represents the start and the end is endless. Then, so ye anant hai or ant bhi hai, anant bhi hai. In Hindi, this is what you call. So this is a representation of a column. Then, and moreover, why 12 Shiva Jyotirlings are there? So as per the tradition of India, or as per the legends in the Hinduism, that upon the call of the devotees, Lord Shiva manifested himself in the form of 12 columns at 12 places. So every Shiva Jyotirling has its own story. Then, so every Shiva Jyotirling has its own story. And for example, so the very first Shiva Jyotirling, do you have any idea that which Jyotirling is considered as first Shiva Jyotirling? Somnath. Okay? So Somnath is considered as the first Shiva Jyotirling. Now, as per the story that why Lord Somnath, he appeared over there, the story goes back to, once again, Raja Daksha, okay, and who was the, you can say that father-in-law of the Lord Shiva, and that his daughter Sati was the wife of the Lord Shiva. So Raja Daksha has given one shrap, okay, curse to whom? Somnath. And who is Somnath? Someshwar, Chandrama. Then, so he gave one curse to the Chandrama or Someshwar, that Chandrama was full with, the moon was full with his entire beauty, and then there was no such spots on the Chandrama, and he gave a curse that your beauty would be gone, or that the way you look beautiful, it will be gone and it will have many spots. So now, then at that particular time, Someshwar has done Aradhana of the Lord Shiva. Okay? And after his Aradhana, the first manifestation of Lord Shiva has happened. So that's why the Lord at that place is called as Somnath. And who is Som here? Som is the Chandrama, and Som ke Nath is the Lord Shiva. Okay? So that is the very first story. But Somnath has many stories. Even after it, it is Lord Krishna who has also did the Aradhana of the Lord Shiva, and he made his second appearance. So that's why it is considered as the first Shiva Jyotirling, where the two appearances of the Lord Shiva has happened. Then, Apart from it, the other Shiv Jyotirling we need to write over here. Okay? So other Shiv Jyotirling one by one will write. So for example, in Gujarat there are 2, in Maharashtra there are 3, then there is one in Andhra, there is one in Tamil Nadu, and accordingly that there is one in Jharkhand, there is one in UP, one in Uttarakhand, and 2 in Madhya Pradesh. Okay? So we will write, and I'll tell you one question which was asked in the exam also. So meanwhile लिखो, इसमें पहले Buddhism वाला part लिखो, and then we'll come back to the Hinduism वाला part. So in Buddhism वाला part you mentioned that total 23 sandstone caves were created. Total 23 sandstone caves were created. Which belong to Hinian phase of Buddhism. Which belong to Hinian phase of Buddhism. Development of these caves started in post-Maurya age. Development of these caves started in post-Maurya age, and they reached their climax in Gupta period. They reached their climax in Gupta period. They reached their climax in Gupta period. Done? After that you write. So mention. These caves are generally viharas. These caves are generally viharas. Viharas for Buddhist monk. For Buddhist monk. Then you write a note after it. So write a note, and in note you write Nasik is otherwise known for Hinduism. Known for Hinduism. Then mention one of the Kumbh Mela is held at this place. One of the Kumbh Mela is held at this place. Held at this place. Moreover, Godavari River emerges from Trimbak Kund of Nasik. Trimbak Kund or Trimbak Hill range of Nasik. Then mention it is also the abode of ABODE, abode of one of the Shiv Jyotirling. One of the Shiv Jyotirling. One of the Shiv Jyotirling, that is Trimbakeshwar. That is Trimbakeshwar. Done? That is Trimbakeshwar. So now let's go into the that writing of the 12 Shiv Jyotirling. एक separate title लिख लो. 12 Shiv Jyotirling. So start with very first one, Somnath. Somnath and Nageshwar, they are in Gujarat. So these two are in Gujarat. Then you mention in Maharashtra. So Maharashtra, Girishneshwar, Trimbakeshwar, and Bhimsankar. So there is a contest which is going between Assam and Maharashtra government. They considered Bhimsankar of this place as a Jyotirling, and there is a one more in Assam. They also consider it as a that 12th Shiva Jyotirling. So here I have written Maharashtra, but then I am putting a question mark at this particular place because dispute is not settled, also claimed in Assam. Done. Then after, let's go to the southern part of India. So in Tamil Nadu, what is there? Rameshwaram. And in Andhra, Sri Shailam, Nagarjuna Konda. Okay? So Nagarjuna Konda, Sri Shailam. No, just 1 minute. नहीं लिखना है इसको. Nagarjuna Konda is the place, but you write Mallikarjun. That's the word they use. So Mallikarjun, Sri Shailam. So this is in Andhra, and then you write Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu. Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu. And this one was Andhra. मल्लिकार्जुन के आगे लिखा है श्री सैलम. दिस इज एस, वो थोड़ा गड़बड़ हो गया लिखने में. I'll write it correctly, don't worry. Sri Sailam, Andhra. Then Rameshwaram ke baad, so come to MP. So in MP, Madhya Pradesh, there are two, you already know. What is that? Mahakaleshwar at Ujjain and Omkareshwar. So mention Mahakaleshwar at Ujjain and Omkareshwar. So these two are in Madhya Pradesh. Then in Jharkhand, Vaidyanath. ठीक है? So Vaidyanath in Jharkhand. So Vaidyanath is in Devghar. ठीक है? Jharkhand. And UP, Kashi Vishwanath. ठीक है? So mention Kashi Vishwanath. UP. Uttarakhand, Kedarnath. What about Amarnath? Is it a Jyotirling? No. Amarnath is not a Shiva Jyotirling. ठीक है? हाँ, it is a dham, but it is not a Shiva Jyotirling. So this is what is about the 12 Shiva Jyotirling. And कभी मतलब every third or fourth year in a combination they gave this particular question. ठीक है? So if you remember this 12 Shiva Jyotirling, so you don't need to remember n number of the temples all over India. कभी that UPSC is always about that giving some strategic facts, not giving you so many facts. Then so they don't run after so many facts. If you remember these strategic facts, you'll be able to solve the question. ठीक है? So I'll tell you one question which was asked in 2016. It's a best example that how to solve the paper. Then, so इसमें से अब just listen carefully. The question in 2016 was, which of the following is a sun temple? Which of the following is a sun temple? And combinations were given. So first let me write the name of the place. and then after they have given the combination. So number 1, so 1 was written A. A was Arsavalli, B was Amarkantak, और 1 2 3 लिख देता हूँ, 1 2 3 ही लिखा हुआ था, just give me 1 minute. So 1 2 Amarkantak, and third was Omkareshwar. Then the combinations which were given. So combination A, 1 and 3. Combination B was 1 2 3. Combination C and D. So D was written 2 and 3, and this was written 1 only. So simple, you all know. Then easy था. अब ये जानना थोड़ी ज़रूरी है कि अमरकंटक में क्या है, ठीक है? You don't run after remembering that what is kept at Amarkantak, or even you don't need to remember that what is there at the Arsavali and find the answer. Only thing that you know, Omkareshwar is a Shiva Jyotirling. So if you know Omkareshwar is a Shiva Jyotirling, जहाँ पे भी 3 है, you have cut it, ठीक है? You got the answer. So understand that though some facts are there, but not so much of mugging of fact is required. And some strategic facts are important, which you remember, you can easily solve the questions. ठीक है? So chalo, let's move to the next part. So cave part complete, then not completed. Nasik caves completed, and then we mentioned about these all things. Let's look at the some other caves which are important at this time. So एक और cave है. Next you write Bagh cave. Bagh cave. So Bagh caves are from Madhya Pradesh. It is situated on the banks of river Bagh. ठीक है? Situated on the banks of river Bagh, and this is closer to Indore. Moreover, there are total 9 sandstone caves at this place, and all of them belong to Buddhism. ठीक है? Mention. So Bagh caves were situated on the banks of river Bagh, on the banks of river Bagh near Indore. On the banks of river Bagh near Indore. Then mention further. Total 9 sandstone caves. Total 9 sandstone caves were created at this place. Total 9 sandstone caves were created at this place. Created at this place. All of them belonging to Buddhism. All of them belonging to Buddhism. Then mention. Cave number 4. Cave number 4 is popularly known as. Cave number 4 is popularly known as Rang Mahal. Rang Mahal, which had beautiful frescoes, based on Buddhism, which had beautiful frescoes based on Buddhism. Based on Buddhism. Done? So based on Buddhism. So that's self-explanatory itself. And let's come to the next cave. So mention 6, na? Number 6. So you mentioned Junagadh cave. So where is Junagadh? Gujarat. And it is situated in the Girnar hills of Gujarat. So mention situated in Girnar hills of Gujarat. So now listen. So the caves at Junagadh, they have a another name also, and this name we call as a Uppercote. So these caves are also called as Uppercote. The meaning of this word Uppercote means cave chambers created on a high platform. ठीक है? So एक बार ध्यान से समझना that how it was created. So when we look at this type of the cave, so suppose that if this is a rock, then that big hill or hillock, whatever that is there, so what they will do that they will not create a chamber on the base level. They start creating stairs from different levels. ठीक है? And stairs और कहीं बीच में जाके they will be creating the chamber. Then, so this is what is we are calling that Uppercote or chambers in the appraised platform or on the upper levels. Moreover, as far as the religion is concerned, that which religion was associated with it. So Buddhism, that specimen related to Hinduism have been found, but it is clearly visible from the place that it was abode of the Buddhist monks. So mention, you write, these caves are also referred as Uppercote, which means cave chambers created on appraised platform connected through stairs from the base. Then full stop. This cave was clearly associated with Buddhism. This cave was clearly associated with Buddhism, but some Hindu motifs are also found at this place. Some Hindu motifs are also found at this place. Then, so Hindu motifs are also found at this place. So this is what is about this particular, the cave chapter. So these many caves that we needed to see in the Gupta period, now we are entering into a temple architecture topic. So the most important topic from this period is the temple architecture. So write a title. Temple architecture. So remember in the previous class what we mentioned, that not only the temples were created at this time, but even the manuscript related to temple construction were also written, and the name that we wrote, Vastu Shastra and Vishnu Dharmottar Puran. Okay? So now listen. So how the temple development has started. So first we will talk about the evolution of the temple architecture in the northern India. So evolution of the temple architecture, meaning that how it all has started. So generally when you look at the books which are there in the market, they unnecessarily mention 4 or 5 stages, not required. What is we need to know that the stage which has given rise to the Nagar style of temple. So let's look at the 3 phases of the development of the Nagar style of temple. Then, so I'm starting with it. Then, now, so एक title लिखो पहले, mention in this temple architecture, evolution of temple in north. Evolution of temple in north. So evolution of temple in north. So now mention further. So listen. So as we mentioned that 3 stages, it took 3 stages for the development of the Nagar style of temple. Very first stage. In the first one, what happened? That they created a very flat temple. Okay? So flat and square temple. So it was having a flat roof and square base. Moreover, in this temple, maximum that you can see that there is this kind of pillars would be there, decorative pillars there at the front of the temple, and it is created not on a upraised platform. This could be entry, okay? And it has a flat roof. Moreover, it is completely on the ground, meaning that it is not created on a raised platform, no stairs are there. Then moreover, square, flat chamber, that's it. The pillars which were created, these pillars, they are not going deeper into the ground, they seem to be a decorative pillar. So this is the very first stage temple. Where do we find the very first stage temple? At Sanchi. Okay? So in Sanchi, that there is a temple which is denoted by the Archaeological Survey of India as temple number 17. So temple number 17 of Sanchi is considered as the oldest temple of India. You might be thinking that ki isko temple number 17 क्यों लिखा है? So that's the place in Sanchi, there is a complex of the temple. Then, so number wise they have counted, and out of the counting the 17 number temple, as per the analysis, scientific analysis, this was the oldest temple of India. Then, so we don't have any other evidence that who created, who did not created, but we have idea that it was created in the Gupta period. So that's why we are studying it in a Gupta period. So that is the very first stage temple. In the second stage, what happened? So in the second stage, now the flat roof, take a flat roof, square temple approach continued. But then there are some changes. So square temple approach continued. What are the changes? In the very first stage, temple was created on a flat, that not on a upraised platform. But in the second stage, they created temple on upraised platform. So now the temple is created on little bit of upraised platform, and then you might encounter some stairs over here, good number of stairs. The temple which is created, it will be having, so some places there is double story temple also, but generally single story temples there. There were 1 or 2 instances of the double story, okay? But sab jagah pe nahi. Maximum one single story, but some places double story. So I'm removing the double part, only in writing will mention. As far as the pillars are concerned, in this one, only shallow pillars were there, decorative pillars. But in this one, in-depth pillars were there, which are going deeper into the ground. Meaning that these pillars are there for the support also. Sirf decoration ke liye nahi, they are for the support also. Then, so this new change has happened, and this upraised platform, later on we will mention the name of this upraised platform also. So this is the achievement till the second phase. Third phase mein kya hoga? That flat roof will change, and iske upar they will be creating one tower, and that tower will be known as Sikhar. So we'll write in the third phase. Abhi nahi. So mention karu. So what is the title you have written? So इसमें लिखो that the Nagar style of temple, the Nagar, N-A-G-A-R-A, the Nagar style of temple, developed in 3 phases, during Gupta age. During Gupta age. Then mention after it, full stop, which is as follows. So mention a subtitle, first stage, full stop. No, not full stop, it is title, and then mention. In this phase, flat roof, square temples were created. In this phase, flat roof, square temples were created on grounded platform. Flat roof, square temples were created on grounded platforms. Grounded platform, full stop. Then mention. It also included shallow pillars, SHALLOW, shallow pillars meant for decoration. Shallow pillar meant for decoration. Then meant for decoration, full stop. Then example, temple number 17, temple number 17 of Sanchi. Temple number 17 of Sanchi. Take it. Then phase stage 2. So first stage you have written, stage 2 you write. In this example I'll mention. So write. In this phase, temples were created on, upraised platforms known as Jagati. Upraised platforms known as Jagati. So this area that we have created, this is Jagati. Okay? So ye wala part, this is Jagati. Then mention. They continued flat roof square temple approach. They continued flat roof square temple approach. But in this phase, in-depth pillar were used. Then full stop के बाद लिखो. There were also few instances of double-story flat roof temple. Double-story flat roof temple. So you write an example. Example is, so mention this name, Parvati temple of Nachna Kuthara in MP. Nachna Kuthara of Madhya Pradesh. Then, so this is the example, best example of the second stage temple. Okay? So now come to the third stage, and so third stage. So have a look that how the things were created in the third stage. So in the third stage, proper temple is created. Okay? So the temple which will be based on upraised platform. Okay? Then moreover, not only it is based on upraised platform, but the temple, the most important feature is the creation of the curvy linear tower, okay, rising from the middle layer. Then, and this curvy linear tower is the speciality of this stage, which is called as Sikhar. Then, so Sikhar. So that is the precursor stage to the Nagar style. Isme likho, mention. In this stage, a curvy linear tower was introduced. A curvy linear tower was introduced on the top of the chamber. On the top of the chamber. On the top of the chamber. Curvy linear tower was introduced on the top of the chamber, and it was popularly known as Sikhar. And it was popularly known as Sikhar. Known as Sikhar. Done? This stage, this stage is said to be, this stage is said to be the precursor, is said to be the precursor of Nagar style temple. Precursor of Nagar style temple. So in this you write example. So example you write Bhitar Gaon temple of Kanpur. Bhitargaon temple of Kanpur and Dasavatar temple. Dasavatar temple of Devgarh in Jhansi. Dasavatar temple of Devgarh in Jhansi. So these are the examples of the third stage temple, and as we have noted down that it has given rise to the Nagar style of temple. So finally we have arrived at the main style of the northern India, which is known as the Nagar style of temple. So देखो इसमें image का role होता है, ठीक है? That if in exam, that if you get a question on any temple architecture, so even a small one, but create a diagram. And not just creating the diagram is important, but also labeling it is important. Diagram बना के छोड़ दोगे, and if you don't create any labels, what is this layer means, that means, this means, then, so it will be of no use. So you must label it, ठीक है? So let's start with the Nagar style of temple. You write a major title, I will go into the discussion. So you write Nagar style of temple. So this is the main style of the North India. एक और चीज ध्यान में रखना, that whenever we say that कि North in culture, so North in culture means everything above river Narmada. It will include West also, East also. ठीक है, कल्चर में ये टर्मिनोलॉजी होती है. एंड व्हेन वी से साउथ, सो साउथ मीन्स एवरीथिंग बिलो रिवर नर्मदा, और यू कैन ऑल्सो से विंध्या. सो विंध्या इज अ डिवाइड इन इंडिया, देन so that's what is the terminology that we generally used in the culture. North and south means that entire India of the above the Narmada. So Nagar style. So Nagar style of the temple, as the name suggests, that it must have emerged in the city landscape of the northern India. So basically, emergence of the Nagar style of temple happened in the Gupta cities. Then, and Guptas were the patronizer, and who was the patronizer in particular? Chandragupta II. Okay? So Chandragupta II. Now let's talk about the features of this temple. So this is considered to be the umbrella style of the North India. What do we mean by umbrella style? Meaning main style. उससे थोड़े बहुत variation, little bit of variations would be there in one region to another region. ठीक है? So now, what are the special features of it? First we'll create a diagram and then we'll go into the explanation, just like one that you have done in the Buddhism. So do one thing, create this diagram, which I am also creating. So there are so many things in the temple that you need to create. So So now let me darken it. So this is a different chamber, so you can color it with a different color. And then this is just a symbol of the chamber. So now you write the labels of it. So this is what we call Sikhar. Then this is Amlak. The last part, Upar, this is finial, but this finial, the shape of this finial is Kalash. Then this entire space, okay, this entire space, where should I create? So this entire space is Mandap. This area, this chamber is Garbha Griha. Garbha Griha. In English you call it Sanctum Sanctorum. Sanctum Sanctorum. Then this upraised platform is Jagati. This circular path that I have created, it is ambulatory passageway. Ambulatory passageway. In Hindi or Sanskrit, you call it Parikrama Path. Okay? In Buddhism, we call it Pradakshina. In Hinduism, we call it Parikrama. So, Parikrama Path. Then, this portion, entrance is called as Ardha Mandap. Ardha Mandap. And as it is visible, this is stairs. So, write this much. And these are pillars. So obviously you need to mention. So these are stambha or pillars. These all chambers are mandap. Okay, all of them. They all are mandap. Done? That is also part of the mandap. ठीक है, एवरीथिंग इज मंडप सराउंडिंग दिस इज द गर्भगृह. उसके अलावा जो भी कुछ होता है टेम्पल में दैट इज मंडप. इट इज नॉट देवघर, इट इज देवगढ़. Have I written देवघर? वो गढ़ है. ठीक है, H आगे ऐड कर लेना. देवगढ़ ही लिखा है ना. बना लिया ऑल ऑफ यू. देखो घर लेके नहीं जाना है. सो जस्ट फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग यू आर क्रिएटिंग इट. बता रहा हूं अभी. अर्धमंडप ये एंट्रेंस है, ये बिगिनिंग वाला पार्ट. दैट पोर्च इज कॉल्ड एज, दिस पर्टिकुलर चैम्बर इज कॉल्ड एज अर्धमंडप, द एंट्रेंस पार्ट. सो नाउ लिसन. सो नागर स्टाइल ऑफ टेम्पल. सो जनरली व्हाट वी सी, अच्छा देखो, व्हेन वी आर यूजिंग द सम वर्ड्स जनरली, जनरली का मतलब 90%, 95%, कुछ एक्सेप्शंस हमेशा होते हैं. सो देयर वुड बी एक्सेप्शंस ऑल द टाइम. सो जनरली बाउंड्री वॉल्स आर नॉट क्रिएटेड इन द नागर टेम्पल. दैट इज द वेरी फर्स्ट फीचर. And when we look at the temple, Nagar temple, so it's always created on appraised platform, and this appraised platform is known as Jagati. Okay? So this appraised area, and obviously stairs would be there. When you're entering, so this very first part of the entrance of the temple is called as Ardha Mandap. Okay? So entry. Then after the Ardha Mandap part, rest of the part is Mandap. Okay? And what is Mandap? Prayer hall. So it is prayer hall. Moreover, the main chamber is called as Garbha Griha, Sanctum Sanctorum. Then, so Garbha Griha. Now in this chamber you will find the image, the idol, the sculpture of the deity. Deity means God. So idol or sculpture of the deity, and this is the chamber where the worship happens. Take it. Then, as per the notations of the Hinduism, parikrama, I think a story I told you in the last class related to Lord Ganesh. So here also the same story is there, that parikrama is very much part of the Hindu culture. So whenever you go into a temple, so you do a pradakshina or parikrama of the temple. ठीक है? ऐसा नहीं होता है कि there will be a clear cut path. But even if clear cut path not is there, so then you will have to do the parikrama of the entire temple itself. Okay? So in majority of the temples you will be finding the space and where you can do the parikrama. Then after ambulatory passageway, that's what we have written, the sikhar. So sikhar is the curvy linear tower. Curvy means that curving, and linear means going in upper direction. So curvy linear tower, sikhar. Then there is a horizontal disc which is known as amlak. So amlak gives a pause to the sikhar, and on top of the amlak, finial is created. But finial is a common English word. Then it is a common English word which is used for the topmost structure on a religious building. So in every religious structure, there would be a finial. So for example, if it is a church, so what is a finial on the top of the church? Cross. Okay? If it is Islam, so then mosque. So the moon would be there. The lunate moon would be there. Star is also there some places. And in Hinduism, so either the Trishul or Kalash, okay, or different Hindu symbols would be there. So this is what is the finial. In this finial we have created Kalash, but if Shiv temple is there, so Trishul is also, trident is also created. So there are other features also which are not visible here. First you write some of the feature and then we'll mention the features which are not visible. So mention, you write. Ab seedhe aao, theek hai? So first you write, Nagar is the umbrella style of temple of northern India. Umbrella style of temple of northern India. Then full stop. Its origin can be traced to the Gupta cities. Its origin can be traced to the Gupta cities. Gupta cities, full stop. Then mention, can be traced to Gupta cities, full stop. Then you write after it, it has following features. It had following features. Then, so number 1 you write. The characteristic feature of Nagar style temple, is the presence of curvy linear tower sikhar. Sikhar, full stop. Then mention number 2, curvy linear tower sikhar, full stop. Number 2 you write, generally boundary walls are not created. Boundary walls are not created in Nagar temples. in Nagar temples. Full stop. The upraised platform, next point, the upraised platform on which temple is created is known as Jagati. Is known as Jagati. Then now just stop writing, and then I just want to make you understand few of the things. So why this chamber, which is the most important part of the temple, is called as a Garbhagriha? What's the logic behind it, that the calling it as a Garbhagriha? So if you translate it into English, so what you get? Embryo chamber. Then so embryo chamber, does it mean that it is an embryo chamber? So as per the notations, understand, temple is a place of, or any religious place when we talk about it, so religious place is a place of the introspection, purifying your character, purifying your behavior. Then not only just asking the wishes to the God that this is what I want, then mujhe de do. Then so it is more than that. It is more about the reforming your own personality. So even if you're asking something, even if you're asking that ki Bhagwan mujhe IAS bana do, theek hai, IPS bana do, so this would be a new birth to you. If you get it, so this would be a new birth to you. So whatever changes that you want in your life, what was not there, then that's a new birth, new thing happening to you. So that's why it is called as a Garbhagriha, the birth chamber, the new birth chamber, correction of your personality, introspection of your behavior, and then achieving the things which you have not achieved earlier. So if you go with the purity of mind and the devotion, so that's why it is called as Garbhagriha. Then another thing, why this particular towers were created in this way, curvy linear tower. So these towers are also, there is a symbolic meaning of it. These towers are equated with some of the mythological mountains which are mentioned in the Hinduism. And what are those mythological mountains? Kailash Parvat, very good, exactly. So it is also representative of the Kailash Parvat, but there is one more which is less popular, you might not be knowing, Meru Parvat. Have you heard about it? So Kailash is the abode, considered as the abode of the Lord Shiva, and Meru is considered as the abode of the Lord Vishnu. Then so this is indicative of the Kailash Parvat and Meru Parvat. Okay? Then apart from it, so what is Amlak? Amlak is a horizontal disc. अब इसमें तो सामने से ऐसे दिख रहा है तुम्हें, but then basically it is a horizontal disc like this. Then and moreover, it is a pause to the temple शिखर, ठीक है, कि उसके ऊपर अब नहीं जाना है, तो एक pause is created, and the topmost structure is the reverence to the Hindu motive. That could be कलश also, that could be त्रिशूल also, और बहुत जगहों पे flag भी देखोगे temple का. Some places the flag of the temple is also created. So those who are from Odisha, they must be knowing that on the Jagannath temple, the flag is kept at the top. So anything, any Hindu motive, it can be kept over here. Then, so this is what is the symbolism. And this Parikrama Path, have I told you that story? I think I remember I told you that story of the Lord Ganesh. I told na. So that is that when you do a Parikrama of the temple, Garbhagriha, so it is considered as that you have done the Parikrama of the Trilok. What is Trilok? Trilok in the Hinduism is the lok belonging, or the world belonging to the three Devatas, and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Okay? So mention further, you write. What is the last one you have written? Jagati likha hai na. Then Jagati ke baad next you write Mandap. Mandap is the prayer hall of the temple. Mandap is the prayer hall of the temple, and it also comprises of large number of in-depth pillar. It also comprises of large number of in-depth pillar. Then mention after it the main chamber of temple is called Garbhagriha. in which the idols of deity is placed. Idol of deity is placed. Full stop. It is regarded as the place of new birth. It is regarded as the place of new birth. Then next you mention after it. It is regarded as the place of the new birth. The tower on the top of Garbhagriha, is often equated with mythological mountains Kailash and Meru. Then generally likho, Nagar temples include a covered ambulatory passageway. Ambulatory passageway. Ambulatory is written over here, you can see the spelling. Okay? So covered ambulatory passageway or parikrama path. Then Amlak, next point. Amlak is a horizontal disc. Amlak is a horizontal disc, D-I-S-C, horizontal disc, which gives a pause to the rising layer of tower. Rising layer of the tower. Next point. The topmost structure is finial. Which differs from place to place. Like Kalash, Trishul, flag, etc. Kalash, Trishul, flag, etc. Then, so this is one part. Now let's look at those things which are not visible from the temple, but the concepts are inside the temple. So what is that? Now understand. So there is something which is called as the ground plan. Now understand that when we look at the ground plan of the Nagar temple, so generally in the Nagar temples, ground plan is crucified. What does it mean? So for example, that you are in GMMR 33. What is the ground plan of this GMMR 33? You will able to see only when you are seeing from some other building, which is higher than this building. Suppose बगल में कोई बड़ा building है, 6 story, and then you go to the top of that, you look at this building. So what this building will look like? Rectangle. Then एकदम rectangle है ये पूरी building. Then so this is the ground plan of this particular building, that ki base say it is rectangle and till the top it is rectangular. When you look at this type of the plan, so how overall temple, suppose you are flying and from the chopper you are seeing the temple, so the overall temple premise will look like this, so this kind of shape would be visible to you. ऐसे ही होता है कि यहाँ से मंडप start होता है, and then when you go to this part, so this is elaborated. Then so this shape is called as crucified ground plan. Mention generally Nagar temples were created Nagar temples were created in crucified ground plan. Nagar temples were created in crucified ground plan. Crucified ground plan. Then there is one more thing, that when we talk about the Nagar temples, so here also generally I am mentioning, exceptions could be there, but generally Nagar temples don't create any water tank inside the premise of the temple. So in South India, when we talk about the Dravid temple, so they will be creating a water tank inside the premise of the temple, but in North it is not created. So one can ask a question that why it is not created. So actually it is all related to the origin of the Nagar temple itself. So the initial connotation in the northern India, the temples will be created on the banks of the river. Then, so since it is already created on closer to a water body, so there was no need of creating a water body inside the temple. But in southern India, the rivers are ephemeral. Ephemeral, you understand? हाँ, ड्राई सीजन में वो खत्म हो जाते हैं, दिखते ही नहीं है. सो रिवर्स आर एफीमेरल, सो दे नीड constant source of water, and that's why they create a water tank inside the temple. So right, generally in Nagar temples, water tanks were not created. Generally in Nagar temples, water tanks were not created. Then, so this is what is about that some of the features of the Nagar temple. And as far as the examples from the old age are concerned, so Kashi Vishwanath itself is an best example of this one. Okay? So one of the oldest that Nagar style temple. So mention example mein likho Kashi Vishwanath temple. Then Kashi Vishwanath temple. Then you can mention Omkareshwar temple, Mahakaleshwar temple, etc. Mahakaleshwar temple, etc. Then, so now there are n number of the examples we'll be writing in the variants. So this is what is about the original style of the Nagar. Umbrella style. Umbrella का मतलब एक समझना कि जैसे I'll give you one different example. When we use the term umbrella, so for example, you must have heard about some of the schemes of the government of India. One of the scheme is the National Health Mission. National Health Mission के अंडर में दो मिशन है, and that is NRHM and NUHM, National Rural Health Mission and National Urban Health Mission. Inside this, there are many schemes. And what are those schemes? Janani Suraksha Yojana, Sisu Suraksha Yojana, then some sort of that Swasth Pension Yojana. So there are many schemes. So basically, the umbrella is the NHM. Uske andar mein ye sari schemes hai. Now you understanding? So Nagar is the main style of entire northern India, and there are variations in the Nagar that we are going to see. I hope you understand. Then, so let's talk about the three sub-styles of the Nagar. Three popular sub-styles. So one is from the Odisha, one is from the Bundelkhand area, that is Khajuraho area, and another is from the Gujarat. So let's start with the very first one. पहले एक title लिखो. Title is Substyles of Nagar Temple. Substyles of Nagar Temple. So इसमें number one you mention Odisha style. Odisha style. Odisha style. Anyone from Odisha in this class? I'll not ask any question, I just wanted to know. Just one person from this side, nobody? Chalo. So now listen, when it comes to Odisha style of the temple, so this style of the temple developed under the guidance or basically patronage of the dynasties like Gang dynasty of Odisha, Gajapati rulers of the Odisha. Okay? So Gang rulers and Gajapati ruler, in fact, अगर जो बहुत डीपर जाओगे तो देयर वाज अ केसरिया रूलर ऑल्सो, ठीक है, बट दैट इज बेसिकली इंपॉर्टेंट व्हेन यू स्टडी फ्रॉम द पीसीएस परस्पेक्टिव, ठीक है. So under the Gajapati and the Ganga rulers, many of the Odisha temples developed, and moreover, so what is the speciality of this temple? So though overall at a broader level it is a Nagar temple, but then on a specific level it has a different attributes. So those different attributes which we are going to mention. So listen, very first one, that when you look at the Odisha temple, one of the feature is that they will be having boundary wall. What we have written in Nagar, generally Nagar temples don't have the boundary wall, but in Odisha they will be having a boundary wall. So that is feature number one. Feature number two, that when you look at the Odisha temple and the exterior walls of the temple, Bahar ke side, okay? So exterior walls of the temple were lavishly decorated with the intricate carving. Then, so lavishly decorated with the intricate carving, meaning that beautiful sculptures, designs, motifs were created on the outer wall of the temples. But there is a unique contrast in the Odisha temple. Bahar jitna decoration, andar bilkul plain. So interior walls are kept very plain, entirely plain. No decoration happens in the interior wall. Only some sort of painting. Then, so this is one speciality. But the characteristic feature of the Odisha temple, its tower. It is known as, so understand. So पहले नागर पे फिर वापस चलते हैं. In Nagar temple, what we have seen, that if this is the chamber, suppose if this is the chamber, so from the chamber when the tower is emerging, so tower is curving from the base. So tower is curving from the base. So from here only, as you can see, the tower has started curving. But in Odisha temple, this is different. In Odisha temple, the tower does not curves at the base. Okay? It goes straight up to a great extent. Then it goes straight up to a great extent like this. And then very closer to the top, there is a curving tendency of the Odisha temples. So now as you can see that it is not curving from here, curvature starts from here. Then, so this type of the Sikhar is known as Deul Sikhar. Then, and this is the speciality of the Odisha style. So Deul Sikhar goes straight till some height, great height, and then suddenly closer to the top, the curvature starts beginning. Okay? So this is the Deul style of the Sikhar, and this is the characteristic feature of the Odisha style. So mention little bit. You write, there are few more features which I'll be adding, but then you write, Odisha style of temple started to develop. Odisha style of temple started to develop under the patronage of Gang dynasty and Gajapati dynasty. Gang dynasty and Gajapati dynasty. Then further you mention in this way. अब सीधे features पे आ जाओ. Features में you mention very first thing that boundary wall can be seen. Boundary wall can be seen in Odisha temple. Boundary wall can be seen in Odisha temple. Number 2. The exterior walls of Odisha temple. The exterior walls of Odisha temple were lavishly decorated with intricate carvings. Lavishly decorated with intricate carvings. Then mention after it. Lavishly decorated with intricate carvings, full stop. But the interior walls of the temple, were kept entirely plain. Were kept entirely plain. Were kept entirely plain. Done. Next point. The characteristic feature of Odisha temple, is presence of Deul Sikhar. Is presence of Deul, D-E-U-L-A, Deul Sikhar, which is almost vertical, for a greater length, and only near top, curvature is created, So this is what we mentioned. Now, just understand there are many such interesting and unique things about the Odisha temple. So just listen, just give me 1 minute. So the mandap, prayer hall in the Odisha temple, is called as Jagmohan. So according to the regional characteristic, the different names are given. So mandap is called as Jagmohan. Moreover, when you look at the traditions in the Odisha temple, they are a bit different from the different parts of India. So for example, when we talk about the most famous temple of the Odisha style is the Jagannath temple of the Puri. And in Jagannath temple of the Puri, what you note down, that the image of the god, image of the deity, is made up of not stone, not metal, but from the neem wood. Okay? So it is created from the neem wood. And in fact, Jagannath temple, have you heard about the Char Dham? Okay? So what comes under Char Dham? Any idea? Batao, bolo. Kedarnath, Badrinath. So now listen. See, I'll tell you exactly. Now it is famous also because Uttarkashi tunnel is related to the connection of the Char Dham Yatra only. दिमाग में बैठा के रख लेना, ठीक है? चार धाम concept is associated with the Lord Vishnu, on the devotion of the Lord Vishnu, ठीक है? Very first thing. Number 2, that it includes the places like, so the place number 1 is the, any idea? Somnath, ठीक है? And Somnath, not Somnath, sorry, Dwarka, and on the other side it is Jagannath, on the topmost side Badrinath, and on the lower side Rameshwaram. You can ask a question. Rameshwaram is Lord Shiva. How come it is Lord Vishnu? एक बार मुझे कहानी पूरा करने दो, ठीक है? So listen. So Char Dham Yatra is associated with the 4 phases of the life of the Lord Vishnu. What is this? So when we talk about the Dwarka, so the Lord Vishnu is a Raja in the Dwarka. So it is his kingdom. Then Dwarka is his kingdom. When Lord Vishnu, okay, so it is said that when Lord Vishnu has to rest, okay, or that Vishnu has to rest, so any god has to rest, so then he goes to Badrinath. So Badrinath is his resting place, Sayan Kach, okay. And when Lord is going to worship, so he worships his own Ishta Devata. And who is the Ishta Devata? Ishta Devata, you understand? Have you heard about it? So who is the Ishta Devata of the Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva? So he goes to the Rameshwaram to worship Lord Shiva. And then what is Jagannath Puri? So Jagannath Puri is the Bhojan Kaksh of the Lord Vishnu. Okay? So Sayan Kaksh is the, Sayan Kaksh, you understand? That slumber, sleeping chamber is the Badrinath. Then the food hall is the Jagannath Puri, and his kingdom is the Dwarka, and his temple is in Rameshwaram. ठीक है? So this is what is the notation. And Jagannath is famous for the food only. So if you go to Jagannath Puri temple, it is known for the Chhappan Bhog. Have you heard about it? So Chhappan Bhog, in reality Chhappan Bhog is created on daily basis, and this Chhappan Bhog is created with the in the earthen pots, मिट्टी के बर्तन में. So it is created in the मिट्टी के बर्तन on daily basis, and moreover once the छप्पन भोग is created, the entire utensils are thrown. ठीक है? They are not used in the temple. Thrown या किसी को बांट देते हैं वो. And the second thing, that whatever food which is created inside the Jagannath Puri temple, it is all created with the native ingredients. Native ingredient का मतलब समझते हो? Meaning that the origin must be India. So for example, what they must not be cooking? आलू नहीं बनाते हैं. Very good, exactly. So potato, tomatoes would not be there. Then, so potato, tomatoes and native vegetable of India would be there. So okra can be there, brinjal could be there. ठीक है? Then yeah, pumpkin. So these all things, and believe me that once you get a chance to get a food over there, despite you may not be liking some of these vegetables, but once you eat those vegetables over there in the temple, you will fall in love with those vegetables. So it's actually said that the food is too good, and that too the sweets in the Jagannath Puri temple is one of the finest. Then, so that's what is the concept. So it is not related to Lord Shiva at the very first place, it is related to Lord Vishnu. ठीक है? एंड एक दूसरा कॉन्सेप्ट होता है, दैट इज अ छोटा चार धाम. सो छोटा चार धाम इज इन उत्तराखंड, विच इंक्लूड्स केदारनाथ, बद्रीनाथ, ठीक है, एंड गंगोत्री एंड यमुनोत्री. ठीक है? सो वो चार वो उत्तराखंड में आता है, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ छोटा चार धाम. दैट्स अ डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट, बट दिस इज द मेन कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द चार धाम. आई होप अब तो भूलोगे नहीं. So now let's get back to this part. So why? Chalo, I'll tell you that story of the Jagannath Puri temple also. That in this temple, one more unique thing is there. The images of the Lord Krishna. It is Lord Krishna only. The images which are there inside the Garbhagriha, 3 images are there. Lord Jagannath, Subhadra and Balbhadra. So Subhadra, sister of Lord Krishna, and Balbhadra, Balram. So these 3 images are there, and all the images are not fully finished. They are half created. No, nothing is there below the stomach, and moreover hands are also not completely created. So it goes back to a story whereby that Lord Vishwakarma himself was creating the image of the Lord Krishna, and then king was already given this particular notice that if anybody disturbs the Lord Vishwakarma, so he will disappear. And the queen was so impatient that she opened the door. Then, and that's how he was half complete with the image, he disappeared. So that king of that area, he installed the same images. Then, moreover, another tradition in this particular Jagannath temple is Rath Yatra. So Rath Yatra every year, annual festival is there, and Lord is taken out to roam in the city, and every 12th year one more festival, when very important festival is celebrated in Jagannath temple, that is known as Navakalevar. So in this festival what happens, the images or basically the sculpture of the Balbhadra, Subhadra and Jagannath, Lord Jagannath which is there, it is changed with the new sculpture. So नया sculpture लाते हैं, पुराना प्रवाह कर देते हैं. हिंदी में आई एम टेलिंग यू. सो प्रवाह, यू नो दैट इट हैज बीन इमर्स्ड इनटू द रनिंग वाटर. ठीक है? सो रनिंग वाटर. सो दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस ओवर देयर. सो मेंशन लिटिल बिट, एक जस्ट लेट मी सी दैट व्हाट ऑल थिंग्स यू हैव रिटन. सो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर तो लिख लिया. देन फर्स्ट यू राइट, सो नो जस्ट ब्रेक, बिना इसके कंप्लीशन के कैसे ब्रेक? पूरे दिन भर तुम लोग ब्रेक के बारे में ही सोचते रहते हो. आई नो 2 classes वर देयर. देन विल गिव यू लिटिल बिट अर्ली. ठीक है? 10 मिनट पहले छोड़ दूंगा, बट देन इसको कंप्लीट कर लेने दो. सो मेंशन लिखो, आगे लिखो दैट some of the temples in Odisha style, are known for tantric practices. What is tantric? Now you got interest in it. ब्रेक चाहिए यहाँ पे? नहीं मिलेगा. So tantric practices. Now here also I just want to tell you something. Okay, it is interesting. So how we do get to know that this is a tantric practice temple? Understand? See, and this is the common thing in the Indian temples, that if at some of the temples, if you find sexual images, okay? So if you find sexual images, which is there aplenty in many of the temples, then, and in fact, the images which are related to eroticism are copulation. So this is not just the representation of one of the goal in the Hindu, that one of the purusharth in the Hinduism, that is kama, but it is also representative of the tantric practices. I'll tell you what is the concept is there. In tantricism, one concept is that the highest level of the pleasure you dedicate to the God. Don't take it in other way. This is what is the explanation. That the highest pleasure of yours, you dedicate it to the God when you reach to that stage. And this is what is followed in the tantricism. In the tantricism, the sexual practices are very much incorporated, and when two people are in that highest stage of the pleasure, at that particular moment, they don't take the pleasure, they dedicate it to the God then, and that's what they are able to converge some of the most important energies towards a particular cause. And this is what is the basic concept of the tantricism. So whenever you see these images, particularly in Konark temple of the Odisha, you will see these kind of images would be there, and that is indicative of the tantricism itself. Later on, when we talk about the Khajuraho and other places also, so it is also indicative of the tantricism. Okay? So I hope you got it. So there are many explanations of it, and time, whenever it will be required, I'll be giving those explanations, particularly in Khajuraho. So mention, you write what you have written. So Tantri practices, which is reflected from the sexual images, reflected from sexual images on the walls of the temple, Then mention some of the temples install wooden images of the God inside the temple. Wooden images of the God inside the temple. Then, so now you can write example. So examples you mention. Examples mein likho. So Jagannath temple, Puri. Jagannath temple, Puri. Then you mention Lingaraj temple, Bhubaneswar. Lingaraj temple, Bhubaneswar. Then mention Konark temple. There is one more story related to Konark, but I'll tell you after the break. ठीक है? मन हो तुम्हें सुनने का तभी बताऊंगा. Konark, Konark temple. It is at the Konark itself, ठीक है? And it is in the Cuttack district. So this is Sun temple actually, dedicated to God's Son. I'll tell you that story, then I'll incorporate the rest of the things. एक और लिख लो, Raja Rani temple, Bhubaneswar. Raja Rani temple, Bhubaneswar. Done? ठीक है, 10 मिनट ब्रेक ले लो, then we'll 10 मिनट, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं. So we have already written उड़ीसा टेम्पल, ठीक है? अब स्टोरी बाद में सुन लेना. स्टोरी सुनने के चक्कर में क्लासेस ड्रैग होंगी तुम्हारी. हाँ, कोई बात नहीं, तुम्हारे लिए नहीं है. See, Konark temple, it's a little different from the other Odisha temples then, and one of the reason is basically it was an unusual temple in the shape also, and moreover, the European scholars refer this temple as a black pagoda. Then, so black pagoda. Now the story goes back to the time of the Portuguese, adventure of the Portuguese. Then, this temple, as it is said, that when you look at the image of the temple, so the Garbhagriha which is there, so it has this kind of shape. So it has this kind of shape. In the middle, there is this big chamber. Then, so there is this big chamber, and moreover, in this big chamber, there was something which was kept over there. And as per the legends, not legends, as per the that real story, it was a sun temple, and one image of the sun was kept in the temple. It was hanging in the air. Then, so it was hanging in the air. It was levitating. Then, so the image was levitating. The reason was that this particular part which is there, it has a very big magnet piece. And it's a very big magnet piece. Have you seen MRI machines? Some of you must have seen. So magnetic resonance imaging that these machines, and big magnets are there. So if you combine 4 to 6 magnets of the MRI, so that would be the size of this particular area. So this magnet was kept over there, and because of that levitation effect which was created, it was hanging in the air. So Portuguese, whenever they were doing the adventure in this area, their compass was getting malfunctioned, and they were very much troubled by this, that why their compasses are getting that malfunctioned here. They are the one who located this temple, and after locating the temple, they took this particular magnet from here. Then, so they took this magnet from here, never to return back. So this is the story of this temple, that science and technology was very advanced in the ancient India. Then, that people had knowledge of these all effects, but it's only over the period of the time, so many invasions and then incursions in this country, the scientific progress was lost in the Middle Ages. So this is the story I wanted to tell you. Now let's come back to the next part. So you mentioned 2 more temple styles that we need to see is, so second one you write, number 2. So second style is Khajuraho style of temple. Khajuraho style of temple. It is also known as Chandel style of temple. Chandel style of temple. So now listen. So when it comes to Khajuraho or Chandel style of temple, it was practiced in the Bundelkhand area of UP and MP both. Then, so UP, MP both. Then moreover, what else is there about this temple? So this style is considered to be the climax, or meaning that the most beautiful stage of the Nagar style. So it is the climax of the Nagar style, or most beautiful stage of the Nagar style. So now understand, what are the special features of this style of temple? In Odisha you mentioned exterior walls were decorated, interior were plain. In Khajuraho, both the walls are decorated. Okay? So not only the exterior wall, but interior walls are also decorated with the intricate carving. That is number 1. And number 2, is basically that very high upraised platforms were created in this style of the temple. Okay? So very high upraised platforms were created in this style temple. In the earlier Naga temples, might be the stairs are 15 to 16, but here you might find 50, 60 stairs to go up to the platform of the temple. So very high platform. Then apart from it, when we look at this temple, so there are n number of the chambers in this temple. So for example, कि बीच में अगर जो देखोगे तो in the middle you might see that there is a tower. ठीक है? There is a big tower in the middle. But that's not the only tower. There are many chambers which are rising from the temple, and in these all chambers there are some towers which are rising from the different layers. Then, so when we look at this entire temple, so it gives an impression of the mountain range. ठीक है? कि कभी छोटा tower, बड़ा tower, so different heights of the towers are there, and it gives an impression of the mountain range. Then apart from it, when we look at these all chambers, then So जिनके ऊपर towers बने हैं, these all chambers, they all are interconnected from inside, and they are interconnected in east to west direction. ठीक है? So east to west direction they were interconnected. Moreover, that generally they preferred that temples must be created in the east, but there are some in the west direction also. Apart from it, the special feature of the Khajuraho temple is the erotic images then on some of the walls of the temple. So general perception is that all the walls are decorated with the erotic images. It's not like that. Only 10% of the images in the Khajuraho, they are erotic and they are based on the that sexual things then. But here also a question rises that why these sexual images are there. So not only the Tantricism is one factor, but there is one more story which goes back to the legends of the Bundelkhand. So just understand that what was this story. And uske pehle I will ask a question. So suppose that if we say that these sexual images are tantric, theek hai, and they are also representing one of the purusharth in the Hinduism, that is kama. But then there is one more reason, theek hai, that one more reason that needs to be cited after asking question related to that if there are images related to the sexual images of the men and women, but there are images related to man and animal interaction also. So how come you can justify this kind of images? So let's get back to the things which are there in the Khajuraho. First of all, temples are also considered as the representation of the Purusharth. What is Purusharth? The 4 goals in the Hinduism, which is called as Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Okay? So Dharma is your dharmic responsibilities that you need to fulfill after you become adult. Then Artha. Artha is your right to earn the livelihood. Then that for your own sustenance you need to earn. So that is Artha. Kama. Every human being is entitled to the carnal pleasure, physical pleasure. So physical pleasure is not just the sexual pleasure, but also indulgence in the food or having good food, liking the things then. So that is also the kama. Kama is not just the sexual pleasure. Then the last one is the moksha. What is moksha? So moksha is the final salvation, ultimate liberation. And one must go through all the phases of this life. So when you look at the walls of the temples of the Odisha, so you will find the dharma also, you will find the artha also, kama also, moksha also. Okay? So generally 3 type of the images are there, and moksha ke liye koi image nahi hota hai. Why so? Because moksha you will be attaining while entering the temple. That in the midst of all these things which are happening, dharma, artha, kama, you need to purify your mind, and with pure devotion you enter into the temple so that you can attain the moksha. So this is one concept in the Odisha temple, in Khajuraho temple. The other one, the question which I asked, ki chalo that men, women images are there, but why there are the other images also? Okay? That man-animal interaction, why this is also there? So story goes back to one of the legend from this area, Bundelkhand. There was one lady, okay, that from the Chandel Vans family, okay, the royal family, and the name of the princess was Mahamaya Devi. Okay? So Mahamaya, as the story says, that she was divinely beautiful. So as per the story, one fine day she was taking in the moonlight, full moonlight, she was taking bath in a lake, royal lake, and as per the story, Lord Chandrama, he fell in love with the lady, and then he descended in the human form, and after it, so this is the story. Okay? So descended in the human form, and then they fell in love with each other, and then it continued for a time. But then what happened after a certain period of time? So she was conceiving a child. Okay? She was now that bearing a child, and then when this particular thing came to be known in the royal family, so not only she was highly mistreated, but she was also thrown out of the royal family. Then, so she was also thrown out of the royal family to live in the wilderness. Then, now she has taken a determination that she will, no matter what, she will give birth to the child, and she will take the revenge with the society. So now she is living in the far lands, and she has given a birth to a child, and the child was named after his father, Chandravarman. Then, so Chandravarman now with under the guidance of his mother, he is rising, he is raised, and then he is becoming one of the warrior of that particular area, and later on he started annexing the area, defeating the people, defeating the other royals of that area, and he became the ruler of the Khajuraho. And that's the time when the mother requested that it is not just for the annexation, you create the temple, okay? And create the temple which must be the mirror of the society. So that's how he created the temple which was the mirror of the society. And there is a lesson in the Khajuraho temple that while one woman who is committed to just one man, she has been given n number of the names, then she has been excluded from the society, and she is not allowed to live like a human being in the society. On the other hand, look at the mirror of the society, that what people do in the society. N number of the criminals are there, n number of the sexual atrocities are done, and sexual behaviors are there. There is no calling on these names. So this is basically all about the practices which exist, and उसपे कोई कार्यवाही नहीं होती है. So that's what was the original message of the temple. Maybe that the first part of the story is little mythological, कि Chandrama, but we don't, that many of us don't believe that how Chandrama will come, but maybe he might have been a real man then, with whom she must have fallen in love with, but then the society is not accepting. So this was all about the societal mirror also. I hope you're understanding. So it is not just for the YouTubing purpose, which people do nowadays. Okay, ye dekho, yahan ye, wo dekho, wahan wo. That's not the only thing, and that's not the thing at all. Okay? और एक और misconception लोगों ने बना रखा है कि सारे के सारे walls, all the walls are decorated with this kind of images. That is also very wrong. Only few images are of, only 10% images are sexual images. Rest of the images are different aspects of the life. You getting it? Mention. You're right. So, likho, from where we will be starting. So, mention. It was developed by Chandel rulers of Bundelkhand. Chandel rulers of Bundelkhand. Then mention. अब सीधे provisions पे आ जाओ. Features you write. So number 1 you mention. Khajuraho temples are considered as climax of Nagar temple. Climax of Nagar style लिखना. Climax of Nagar style. Then climax of Nagar style. Then mention. Next point. They are created on a relatively very high platform. They are created on a relatively very high platform. Number 3, it is noted for presence of multiple chambers. It is noted for presence of multiple chambers and multiple sikhars. Presence of multiple chambers and multiple sikhars of varying sizes. Multiple sikhars of varying sizes. Full stop. Varying sizes. These sikhars give an impression of mountain range. These sikhars give an impression of mountain range. Full stop. Then next you write, the chambers of temple were interconnected the chambers of temples were interconnected with each other in east west direction. In east west direction. Then east west direction. Full stop. Then on walls of the temple, on walls of the temples, few erotic and sexual images were also created. Few erotic and sexual images were also created. Done. So now let's write the, not write, first we write the example of this style, and then there are few more things which we need to add in this style. So pehle examples likh lo, and then we'll write about the other things. So mention Kandariya Mahadev temple, Kandariya Mahadev temple of Khajuraho, Lakshman temple of Khajuraho. So both are in Khajuraho. So Lakshman temple of Khajuraho. Kandariya Mahadev and Lakshman temple. Then mention, after it you write next point likho. Not only Hindu, but Jain temples were also created. Not only Hindu, but Jain temples were also created in this style. Not only Hindu, but Jain temples were also created in this style. Right example, Parswanath temple of Khajuraho. Parswanath temple of Khajuraho. So there's two examples you write, Ghantai temple and Parswanath temple of Khajuraho. Ghantai temple and Parswanath temple, both are in Khajuraho only. Ab ek aur. So write a note, and note pehle samajh lo. So in note what you'll be writing, so generally this is the style of the Khajuraho or Chandela, but there were some exceptions in the Khajuraho or Bundelkhand area. What is this exception? Creation of the circular temples. Okay? So creation of the circular temples, and moreover majority of the circular temples were created by one sub dynasty under the Chandela, meaning Raja ke andar Raja, and they were known as Kachchap Ghat dynasty. And these temples, so their names I'm telling that generally they were called as 64 Yogini temple, meaning that worship of the 64 yoginis or 64 forms of the Shakti. So 64 Yogini temple is present at many places. It is present in Morena, it is present in Jabalpur, and it is also present in Khajuraho. Okay? So all the places it is there. Moreover, the question which was asked in the exam in 2020 was based on this only. The parliament design, the old parliament design was inspired from the 64 Yogini temple of the Morena. Okay? So mention, you write that note. You write a note and mention, in some of the areas of Bundelkhand, circular temples were also created. In some of the areas of Bundelkhand, circular temples were also created. Full stop. They were mainly patronized by Kachchap Ghat dynasty. Kachchap Ghat dynasty. Kachchap Ghat dynasty. Done? Then further you write Kachchap Ghat dynasty, full stop. उसके बाद लिखो after it. These circular temples are present at many places. These circular temples are present at many places like Morena, Jabalpur and Khajuraho. Morena, Jabalpur and Khajuraho. It is said that 64 Yogini temple of Morena, 64 Yogini temple of Morena was inspiration. 64 Yogini temple of Morena was inspiration behind the design of old Parliament building. Was inspiration behind the old Parliament building. Old Parliament building. अब रोज रोज मैं इमेज नहीं लाऊंगा, ऑलरेडी आई हैव मेंशन्ड. अब तुम लोग एक दिन क्लास देखते हो और फिर रिक्वेस्ट करते हो. आई हैव ऑलरेडी सेड दैट कि 3 दिन पे एक बार मैं लेके आऊंगा, ठीक है. सो नाउ आफ्टर नेक्स्ट क्लास कल है ना, टुमारो वी हैव. चलो, सो टुमारो आई विल ब्रिंग, डोंट वरी. So tomorrow we'll see the images. Now, so this is what is about the Khajuraho style of temple. Now we are done with the 2 sub-styles of the Nagar. Let's look at the last sub-style, which is the Solanki style of temple. Then, so mention Solanki style of temple. Number 3, Solanki style of temple. So now understand, Solanki style of temple mainly developed in 2 areas. एक तो गुजरात, entire Gujarat and South Rajasthan. Okay, particularly the Udaipur area and the area of the Udaipur, Nathdwara, Chittorgarh. They are famous for this particular style of the temple. But majority of the temples are in Gujarat, and it was patronized by the Solanki rulers of the Gujarat. You must have studied about the Solankis in your medieval history. You remember that Muhammad Gauri जिसको बोलते हो, he fought initially with the Raja Bhimdev Solanki actually, and Raja Bhimdev Solanki, so he defeated, that he was not able to achieve any success in the Somnath. Then only he diverted his attention to the Ucha Multan and that Tabare Hind, which is Bhatinda, and that's where the fight with the Prithviraj Chauhan happened. But there is a big story of the Somnath. Before Raja Bhimdev Solanki II, there was Raja Bhimdev Solanki I, and he was the one at whose time Mahmud of Ghazni has looted the Somnath temple. Okay? So now understand. So here this Solanki were the rulers of the Gujarat, and these Solankis, if you go into the ancient history, so they were the clans of the Chalukya. Chalukya you have studied, and so they were the clans of Chalukya, meaning that Vansaj of the Chalukya. So they created this style of the temple. Moreover, what are the special features of this temple? So understand, in Odisha we talked about the outer wall decoration, interior plain. In Khajuraho, both the walls highly decorated. Okay? Have you written that feature? Both the walls. So both the walls lavishly decorated. And in Solanki style, outer walls are decorated, but optimum decoration. बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं. Decoration होता है, but optimum decoration. But the interior walls are lavishly decorated. Then, so interior walls are lavishly decorated with the different kind of the geometrical carvings. Then, in fact, this style of the temple is noted for one of the highest level of the stone tracery work. You understand what is stone tracery? Jali work. Okay? So creation of the jalis in the stone. So for example, you must have seen in the market and many places कि marble की jalis आती हैं. Have you seen that? Or maybe if you just search on images, so you'll find that creating the jali pattern in the marble, that is actually the origin of the Gujarat. It can be traced from the Gujarat. So this style of the temple is boasting this is stone tracery work. In fact, बाद में जब when we are talking about the Akbar was so fond of this Gujarati jalis that he called many such skillful people from the Gujarat to incorporate that style in the Mughal architecture. Then, so it is noted for the jalis. Then, now the next portion. So, when it comes to the Solanki temple, it is a type of the Naga temple, but then they prefer creating the temples in the east direction. There could be some exceptions also, but then generally the temples were created facing east direction. Moreover, in good number of the temples, there is a presence of the water tank. What you have studied in the normal or common features of the Nagar, there would be no water tank, but here you will find water tank in many of the temples. So these are stepped water tank, and we'll tell you the reason that why they create the stepped water tank. So first you write little bit, pehle thoda sa likho. Mention, it was developed by Solanki rulers. It was developed by Solanki rulers of Gujarat, and it was practiced in the area of South Rajasthan and entire Gujarat. South Rajasthan and entire Gujarat. Full stop. Then mention. So first feature you write. Pehle likho that the exterior walls of the temple, very first feature mention. The exterior walls of the temple were optimally decorated. Exterior walls of the temple were optimally decorated, but the interior walls were lavishly decorated. Interior walls were lavishly decorated. Full stop. Then number 2 you write. This style of temple architecture is noted for one of the finest stone tracery work. And if you want, so you can write in bracket jali work, stone tracery work or jali work. Beautiful Hindu motif, M-O-T-I-F. Beautiful Hindu motif and geometrical designs were created. Beautiful Hindu motif and geometrical designs were created in this style. Then next point you mention. Generally, the temples were created facing east direction. So just listen. लिख के छोड़ दो. Facing east direction. Done? So reason is that the belief is that obviously the sun is rising from the east, so the first sun rays will be falling. But it's not like that. Actually, it is for just few days only. So the temple is created in such a way, and the Garbhagriha is created in such a way that on the day of the equinox, you understand equinox, then? So day and night are equal. So on the day of equinox, sun rays will directly fall on the chamber. Okay? So that is the purpose that generally they prefer this style. So you write what you have mentioned. So generally created facing east direction, so that on the day of equinox, sun rays directly fall. So that on the day of equinox, sun rays directly fall in the Garbhagriha chamber. In the Garbhagriha chamber. Garbhagriha chamber. Then, so just listen about it. So not all of them, but in good number of the temple, you will find water tank. Okay? And this is a stepped water tank. So stepped water tank is basically that many stairs would be there leading to the final layer of the tank. Give me 1 minute. So final layer of the tank. So for example, that this way. And from all the directions, stairs would be there. All the 4 directions, they create the stairs. But this is not the only speciality of this style, that you are finding the stairs from all the direction. They also create small replica of the temple on the stairs. Okay? So on almost majority of the stairs, you will find a small replica of the same temple getting created. Then, so the best example of this style is the Sun Temple of the Modhera in Gujarat. So likho. I'll give you time. So mention. Pehle likh lo. In some of the temples, stepped water tanks. In some of the temples, stepped water tanks were created. Stepped water tanks were created. Moreover, on majority of the stairs, small replica of temple was also created. Small replica of temple was also created. Then example साथ में लिख लेंगे. Next feature you write. Not only Hindu, but also large number of Jain temples. Not only Hindu, but also large number of Jain temples were created in this style. Large number of Jain temples were created in this style. So mention examples. Sun Temple at Modhera. This is in Gujarat. Then Somnath Temple of Somnath. Somnath Temple of Somnath. Ambaji Temple. This is also in Gujarat. Ambaji Temple. Then I'm writing some of the Jain temples. These are the Hindu temples and examples of the Jain temple. So mention Bhadrashwar Jain temple. Bhadrashwar Jain temple. Then Ranakpur Jain temple. And one of the very important, Dilwara Jain temple of Mount Abu. Dilwara Jain temple of Mount Abu. Done? So Dilwara Jain temple of Mount Abu. So now listen, that this style is not only known for the temple making, but one more architectural stuff associated with the Solanki is the creation of the step wells. Okay? So creation of the step wells, and in fact very beautiful with elaborate designs and sculptures, step wells were created. And the best example of the step well is Rani Ki Vav of the Patan, okay, in Gujarat. And this has been given UNESCO heritage status also. So you write, not only temples, not only temples but also step wells, with elaborate sculptures, stairs, step wells with elaborate sculptures based on Hindu mythology. Elaborate sculptures based on Hindu mythology, were created. Then mention the best example is Rani Ki Vav of Patan, which is a UNESCO heritage place. Then, so UNESCO heritage place. So this is what is about the Solanki style of the temple. Then, before going, as I said to you that I'll leave you a little early, so I'll tell you one last thing related to the Somnath temple. So as per the Somnath temple, what I told you, the story that it all goes back to the Lord Someshwar, who created the first temple. Now, as per the legends of the Hinduism, the temple was created many a times, okay? And this temple emerged as a symbol of the Indian culture. So, medieval part also will come to, but first of all understand, it is said that when the Lord Shiva made appearance at the very first time over here in the form of a Jyotirling, so it is the Someshwar who created the first temple in silver. Okay? So he created the first temple in the silver. Then when Lord Krishna, when he was taking the abode as a Raja in the Dwarka, so he worshipped Lord Shiva and he called Lord Shiva. When he made appearance, so he created the second temple in the wood tradition. Okay? And the third temple was created by Raja Bhimdev Solanki first. Okay? And this is the temple which was created in the stone tradition. Okay? So stone tradition. And this is the temple which has been destroyed 17 times. So every time Mahmud of Ghajni, he has come, he has tried to destroy it. And moreover, the last attack of the Mahmud of Ghajni was 1025. And this is the time when he has destroyed this temple. And in fact, he is destroyed, he desecrated the temple, he also took away the very sacred Sivalinga. And despite many such requests and many such kind of appeals from the priests of the temple, he did not spare anybody. Then, so this emerged as a symbol of the Indian culture. Later on, when this news, I hope you must have read about Mahmud of Ghajni, his attacks and then everything. So that was 1025, his last attack was there. Then when he has returned back to his own place, so then after some point of time his death has happened. And then the dynasty, the area where he was ruling, Samanid dynasty of the Middle East, then Western Asia, after his death there was a fight in the Samanid, and then one of the ruler of the Samanid, that was Muhammad Ghuri. Okay? So Muhammad Ghuri, and he had fights with the Khwarizmi branch of the Samanids. And then after in this fight, he decided that he will divert his attention to the India. And then his first endeavor was also to attack on this temple. So this time Raja Bhimdev Solanki's second was there. He defeated. This time the Gujarat was well prepared. He defeated. After this defeat, 1170, he has moved on to Multan and Uch in the today's Pakistan. So he has been victorious over there, and then he has come to fight with the Prithviraj Chauhan in 1191 and 1192. 1191, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated him in first battle of Tarain, but in the second battle of Tarain, Prithviraj Chauhan himself got defeated, and it all happened because of the treachery of the Jaichand. Okay? So Jaichand, so that story you must have studied in this particular part. And then in the medieval period also, once it has started, so n number of the time this temple has been destroyed. So the very first thing that after the India's independence, then So the leaders itself of that time, they themselves appeal to the people to collect funds and reconstruct this temple. So it happens to be the first temple which was reconstructed after India's independence, and now it is under the charge of the Archaeological Survey of India. ठीक है, चलो. So we'll meet tomorrow and we'll start with the South Indian temple architecture. ठीक है, चलो, fine. Good night.